Natsuki Subaru finds himself in a strange and unfamiliar kingdom called Lagunica. Confused and disoriented, Subaru encounters a silver-haired beauty named Emilia, who is lost and searching for a lost insignia. Subaru decides to help Emilia, and together they venture into a pub to retrieve the insignia. However, their peaceful quest is interrupted by an assassin. Subaru, unprepared for combat, is quickly overpowered and killed along with Emilia. This is where Subaru's unique ability, Return by Death, comes into play. Subaru's Return by Death is a unique ability that allows him to rewind time before dying. When he dies, he is instantly resurrected to a previous point in time, typically the last time he reached a significant event. This ability was essential not only for defeating Elsa, but also kickstarting the events of the series. Without it, he would have perished at the very first loop. However, what if he didn't have this power in the first arc? What if we swapped Subaru's powers for any number of other abilities in fiction? How would that have shifted events around? What other decisions would he have made? And would he have survived that fateful day? When Subaru is analyzing the contents of his bag, he notices something he never put in there before. It's a thin, black notebook. On it, Death Note is inscribed. He reads the contents within. Obviously, unlike Light, I don't see any situation in which Subaru would write someone's name down. He could barely interact with people to begin with. That is until he meets Emilia for the first time. They look for a pendant together, like in the original episode, and eventually Emilia tells him her name. I don't actually think that Subaru would write down her name at this moment, even out of curiosity. He'd be too mesmerized by her beauty. Events would then play out the same. They go to the pub, where he's unfortunately cut down for good. It's unlikely he'd ever find out Elsa's full name prior to this. However, there is a way for Subaru to survive with the Death Note in hand. If a Shinigami of some kind were to be following Subaru and Emilia and become acquainted with Subaru, there's a chance they give them a heads up about a sus-looking person with a knife on their way to the pub. Armed with this knowledge, Subaru could give Emilia the heads up, allowing her to be slightly more alert and ready for any potential attack. But this situation requires a lot of what-ifs to properly work. But what if it wasn't a notebook, but a strange device that stuck itself upon his wrist without him noticing? He'd finger it, he'd fidget with it, and would soon realize the truth. He's now got superpowers and is no longer an ordinary kid, which is what he was hoping for to begin with. Let's say he transforms into Heat Blast and starts chaotically using his powers just like Ben did. This would attract negative attention, and either Emilia or Reinhard would step in to intervene. They might even attack him, believing him to be some sort of rampaging mob beast. Obviously, Subaru wouldn't be in any kind of danger, even if Reinhard was trying to stop him due to how broken the Omnitrix is. But his timeline kinda ensures that he never gets an opportunity to help Emilia. But let's assume that this doesn't happen, and Subaru and Emilia go to the pub like normal. Well, Elsa would literally be cooked. The Omnitrix's failsafe function would activate upon Elsa's assassination attempt, and would transform Subaru into the right alien to counter her. Maybe Diamond Head or Accelerate. Even with Subaru's lack of experience with alien powers, the tag team of Puck, Subaru, and Emilia fighting Elsa together will be enough to defeat her or force her to retreat. Moving on to the next hand-based related power, we have Imagine Breaker, a special power in the right hand that can negate any supernatural phenomena. The thing about Imagine Breaker is that it fundamentally solves a lot of problems in the ReZero world. The Sanctuary would be freed, the curse will be dispelled, victims of gluttony would have their existence returned to the world. Any and every supernatural based problem could simply be solved with a single touch, making it potentially the greatest weapon in this world, on par with the strongest of authorities. However, there's one big issue. All these problems happen after Arc 1, meaning that Subaru with Imagine Breaker would have to survive in order to use Imagine Breaker to its full potential. However, Elsa isn't a threat Imagine Breaker he'll take care of. Sure, she has a blessing that can revive her, but she's an incredibly lethal, close quarters fighter who uses very little magic. At most, I'd say that Imagine Breaker's ability to nullify the red string of fate would help Subaru survive much longer than he normally should have. But Imagine Breaker is still not built for this particular situation. I'm not even sure that Subaru would be aware that he has Imagine Breaker to begin with. It could be a subconscious feeling, but even if he did know about it, like I said, it's kinda useless for at least this stage of the story. Let's introduce something a little more familiar. This time around, Return by Death will be replaced by a save and load function from Undertale. Unlike Return by Death, Subaru has free reign over when and where his rewind ability activates. It's pretty simple. Upon being summoned into this world, he'll quickly come across a star-shaped object. Approaching it, his mind will be filled with many thoughts, such as the surrealness of ending up in this world and the start of his new isekai journey. These thoughts will fill him with determination. And then he'll save for the first time. The rest of the events will play out as usual, but this time, upon his death, he'll rewind. We can expect that he'd realize the nature of his power the same way the original Subaru did. However, this time around, he doesn't simply need to die in order for it to activate. He can essentially time travel whenever he wishes, as long as he has determination, which at this point he has plenty of. I think the events of Arc 1 will play out similarly, but Subaru might have a better ability than the original, but he's still weak at the end of the day. It's just that he has more flexibility. Another strategic ability Subaru could have are the Allseeing Eyes of God. The Allseeing Eyes of God grant their wielders the power to perceive the world's true nature. These eyes enhance vision, enable the user to track rapid movements, and discern minute details. They can peer into the past, foresee the future, and pierce through illusions. Moreover, the eyes can identify individuals' unique auras, such as the scarlet wings of the blood breed. With these eyes, Subaru will be able to find Emilia's pendant right away without the need to look or even ask the lesser spirits. Hell, he wouldn't even need to enter the pub because Subaru would immediately see the dead bodies inside from several yards away. Elsa would also never get close enough to properly attack because Subaru would have noticed her with striking ease, alerting Emilia to her presence, resulting in her defeat. There is one small issue though. The overwhelming influx of visual information requires weeks of adjustment for the wearer's brain to adjust to their capabilities, so Subaru would definitely not have enough time to get used to them. But let's look at something that doesn't take any time to master. Upon entering this world, Subaru will put his hands in his pocket and feel something strange within. It's a ring, not one he remembers grabbing. He ponders where it came from and becomes enchanted by it. So much so that he never runs into a salesman or Emilia. What Subaru found was the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron, a source of immense power and corruption. It grants invisibility to its wearer and extends their life, but at a terrible cost. The ring is tied to Sauron's will, and as it grows in power, the mind of its wearer deteriorates. The inscription, one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all into darkness and bind them, reveals its sinister purpose to dominate the other rings of power and enslave Middle-earth. But Subaru isn't on Middle-earth. Sauron probably doesn't even exist here, but the cosmology of the Lord of the Rings universe is grand, transcending universes, with Sauron being God in that realm. So despite Subaru existing far from Middle-earth, the controlling power of the ring would still persist. The events of ReZero would never play out. He never encountered Emilia or even Elsa's plot, because Subaru's mind would have already been taken by the ring. Humans are the most vulnerable to its control, especially to those who do not have powerful wills. Subaru, being as mentally weak as he is at this stage of the story, will be overtaken by the ring instantly, and as the world falls into a temporary ice age, his mind will be too long gone to even notice. Even if he were to survive and help Emilia, the mere presence of the ring would eventually corrupt her mind as well, including every other ally Subaru knows, until the day comes where the Dark Lord himself finds his way into this world to dominate the minds of everyone.